say something? Hey, Dennis. Dennis Troy.
Okay, I make a motion to close the police commission meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. All right, we're going to start the meeting with a presentation for the 2025 National Catholic Cities Week. I haven't done this lately, so, okay. Rosanna, you're doing roll call again?
Councilman Paul Valentine.
Here.
Councilman Jerry Batari.
Here.
Councilman Brian Donahue.
Here.
Councilman Dan Sullivan.
Here.
And filling in for Supervisor Teresa Kenny, our Honorable Dennis Troy, Deputy
All right.
Dennis Troy.
Stand up, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Now, it's a presentation for the 2025 National Catholic Sisters Week from March 8th to March 14th. I just want to mention from my own experiences. I went to a Lady of Mercy Grammar School in the Bronx, and I had Dominican sisters, but not from Blauvelt or Spark Hill. I had Dominican sisters in Cincinnati, Wisconsin. And I had a great education. Every sister I had, all the years I was there were tremendous and really gave me a great foundation. Now, in terms of the Blauvelt Dominican sisters, I went to St. Nicholas of Talentine High School. I did not have the Blauvelt Dominicans, but my wife did. And again, she got her education there, but that's where I met my wife, at St. Nicholas of Talentine. So 53 years later, she's still with me. and I want to welcome two of the St. Nicholas of Talentine young ladies here. And Sister Ellen Rita Picaro, who was a friend of her brother's, and Sister Mary Flood, who is also Dr. Mary Flood. And I've talked about this before. My wife told me not to talk about it, but I met Dr. Flood down in Columbia Presbyterian when my wife was down there for a serious back operation and having a lot of trouble. And the person they ended up getting was the head of infectious diseases, Dr. Flood. And thank you very much. So we have here certificates for the, this is for the Dominican Sisters of Blauville. Right here, Sister Flood. Thank you. You're going to send me an email. Thank you.
Thank you.
The second is for the Sister Irene Ellis, for the Spark Hill Dominicans over here, right next to St. Thomas Aquinas. And again, I have to thank the Spark Hill Dominicans for my mother. I don't know how many years she was at Thorpe Village, run by the Spark Hill Dominicans. And also as a young boy, when I was like 4 or 5, 6 years older, Sister Margaret Ryan was my babysitter. She kind of kept me on the straight and narrow. And she ended up being the principal of Aquinas High School and then the executive director of Aquinas. So again, Sister, congratulations. Congratulations. And thank you for all you do. Are they piping them in? No? Are you going to escort? You escorting them in?
Let's go, Chuck.
All right.
Come on in, Chuck.
All right. The next presentation we have is for the Irish Cultural Heritage Month in the town of Orangetown, March 2025. Whereas individuals of Irish descent have played an invaluable role in the history of the U.S., New York State, and town of Orangetown, making contributions as writers, as business owners, artists, soldiers, musicians, athletes, educators, actors, politicians, and doctors, scientists, lawyers, and every other profession. Whereas Irish Americans were among the early settlers of Orangetown, bringing their skills as carpenters and farmers, and many immigrants from Ireland continue to arrive in Orangetown and make their homes in every hamlet in their town. Whereas Irish Americans have contributed to the economic growth of Orangetown and continue to improve its economy by owning restaurants, construction firms, shops, law firms, and other businesses, serving as teachers, clergy, business owners, police officers, and in other capacities. Whereas Irish American organizations such as the Gaelic Athletic Association, the Irish Cultural Center, and the Ancient Order of Hibernians have greatly contributed to the cultural life in Orangetown. Whereas Irish Americans have influenced and served the town of Orangetown government as town supervisors, town board members, town employees, land use boards, and as committee volunteers. Whereas the Rockland County St. Patrick's Day Parade, the second largest such parade in New York, has been held in Rockland County since 1963, beginning in New City and settled in Pearl River in 1974, to honor and celebrate Irish heritage and culture. Now therefore be resolved, the town board declares March to be the Irish Cultural Heritage Month in the town of Orangetown, and so declared by Teresa Kenny, Supervisor, and Rosanna Schrager, Town Clerk. And we have some of the honorees here from the Hibernians. We have John McGowan. John McGowan is the Grand Marshal. Chuck Pownell is the Hibernian of the Year. And Tina Murphy is the Business Person of the Year. And I'll mention Tina Murphy The Gracie Rose Cafe in the middle of Pearl River is a great place, and her and her partners do a wonderful job there. So if you're looking for someplace to eat, Gracie Rose in Pearl River, and congratulations to all. Thank you. John, you want to say a few words? John, you were a politician. There's always... Chuck, you're in charge of the certificates.
Thank you to our Deputy Supervisor, Dennis Troy, and thank you to the Town Board and Supervisor Kenny. As Grand Marshal this year, I've been a member of the AOH since 2004. I've served as County President for 6 years. I've been a bagpiper with the AOH Pipes and Drums, and it's just a wonderful day, as I think everybody knows, to celebrate our Irish heritage, our Catholic faith, to come together in celebration of St. Patrick, and to do it here in Orangetown, in Pearl River. I've been a bagpiper for 20 years, over the 2 decades that I've been marching in parades, probably about 200 parades, and there's nothing like the Pearl River St. Patrick's Day Parade. And I think the thing that makes it stand out is the sense of community, how families come together to celebrate, through the good times, the bad times, but regardless, they're there that day in celebration of their faith, of their heritage, and their community. So it's an honor to be the Grand Marshal this year, and I can't thank the town enough for the great work that the town does in welcoming us, in hosting this parade for us. The Highway Department, Jim Dean, he and his team do a phenomenal job every year, and Chief Butterworth and the Police Department for all the work that they do, as well as the other law enforcement and first responders throughout the county. So thank you again for continuing to recognize us, recognize this parade, and we're looking forward to a great day. So we'll see you on Sunday, March 23rd, 1:30, right, Carm? Sure. Yep, 1:30. Thank you.
Get some exercise today. So, guys, Vince.
It's a couple, I'm telling you. Good night. All right. We have two items for discussion. Rob, Town Attorney, will take over on these.
Sure. So the first item that I have is regarding a proposed amendment to the landlord registry law. As the board's aware, back in 2016, the board adopted a landlord registry requiring landlords, people who rent out residences to register with the town. The initial registration was very good, but then I think there was some confusion over whether people had to re-register. So it's kind of, it's still there, but I think it needs some tweaks. I would suggest some tweaks before, again, going full bore and sending out reminder notices and getting everybody who's required to register. I looked at some similar laws throughout the state, really. Many towns throughout the state have similar laws. One thing that, in discussing with the supervisor and the building department, town clerk's office, it's a requirement that every rental register, including apartment houses and those types of places, and that's really not what the intention was for the bigger apartment houses. It really was for the board to know which houses or single-family residences or two-family residences are being rented as opposed to being lived in by the owner. So there's a few tweaks on that in this proposal again, this is a work in progress, it's not final. And the other thing that I think needs to be discussed, and again, we'll discuss it internally before putting this up for the board to vote, is maintenance of the registry. Right now, the town clerk's office is the place that maintains the registry. Again, in looking at other codes and the way it's been implemented here, it might make sense for it to all come out of the building department, because you register with the town clerk's office, but then it's up to the building department to enforce it or, keep track. It seems like it might make more sense to have the building department be responsible for the registry. Again, recognizing that that obviously would be a burden, an additional burden on the building department. So, there may need to be some discussion on that. But in essence, it would, we're not trying to get every single rental, for example, an owner-occupied rental, as long as the owner is living there, because typically the owner, if they're there, is more likely to take care of the property. This is really an attempt to address, an absentee landlord situation, so that if a property falls into disrepair, one, make sure they're registered. If they're not, make sure they register. But also now we have the owner, we can quickly, deal with the owner and tell them what the issues are. So it is, another effort along the lines of what, the board's done so far this year in terms of local law. So I know the board, I just really sent this to the board earlier today, but, it's not on for a vote or anything. It's just kind of to have a discussion. So if anybody had any questions or anything, I could address them. Otherwise, when it's ready to go for final, we could put it up for a public hearing.
Anybody have anything to add?
No, sounds good.
I will.
Yeah, thank you for making the changes. And I understand what you're talking about with the apartment buildings. It's really to go after 1- and 2-family homes, especially ones that are owned by LLCs and such, so that we can see who the owner is in case there's a problem. We know how to get a hold of them and who to track down, because right now it's an LLC. Sometimes it's very difficult, because it could be an LLC owned by an LLC owned by, so sometimes, they pay the taxes, but you really can't even tell who pays the taxes. So I think it's a step in the right direction.
Rob, in the information that you sent out, the other thing you talked about is how, maybe through the IT department, that you would follow up. Like somebody can register, their property, and then 3 years from now, and nothing is done, well, then it just goes off into never land. So that is important to follow up on these properties to make sure they're doing the right thing. So,
Right, that's not in the law, but it would be.
in the right
Yeah,
direction,
yeah.
so.
Right, it would be kind of maybe like an automatic reminder, in November, that, hey, in January, you got to register, or something like that. So that would, when we're ready to fully implement it, that would be the next step.
Thank you, Rob. To workshop first. Okay, workshop tonight, item number 3, we're setting the public hearing, April 8th at 7:05, proposed amendment to the Chapter 39 vehicles and traffic within the hamlets of South Nyack and Tapan. This was recommended by the Traffic Advisory Committee. So,
Right, and so just specifically Gesner Avenue in South Nyack and Brant Avenue in Tapan, so that people are aware.
Number 4, authorize renewal agreement for grant writing services. Millennium Strategies is also important, because there's a lot of grants out there, and the fact if we can get them, that's a good thing. So, number 5, approve Parks and Recreation fee schedule. 6, award contract Blue Hill and Broadacres Golf Courses tree removal project O'Sullivan Tree Care, as recommended by the management company Troon, is to clear out a lot of the dead trees, and in some cases there's too many trees for golfers like myself and Jerry Batari that hit the trees, so it's a good thing. Number 7, award contract, electric equipment category for mowers and the 2 mean green rival mowers at a cost of $25,000. I guess this is part of Teresa's green movement.
Well, we're getting grant money. We're getting green grant money.
I don't care if it's free. Yeah, no, I guess it's a good thing. Award contract, the electric equipment category 2 utility vehicles from Store Tractor Company. Number 9, award contract, electric equipment category 3 handheld equipment, again for the Parks and Recreation Department. Number 10, Traffic Advisory Board, approve, remove parking restrictions east side of South Highland Avenue from Terrace Drive to Route 9W in South Nyack, 6-month police regulation. Number 11, accept and receive file documents from the clerk's office. And that's it. Is there any question on the town board on any of these items? No?
I make a motion, we open the public portion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public portion, I have one signed up here. Patty Posewhite wants to talk about the landlord registry.
Hi, my name is Patty Poachwhite. I live in Pearl River, and I did want to speak to you about the landlord registry. Some of my questions you answered. However, I foiled the list, and there is a name on this list, which is Mrs. Rooney's issue, that she has come and talked several times about. The man whose name is on this list, he sold the house. So he's not the man who lives there anymore. Someone else has bought the house, and that person is renting it. So that's one thing. But if you talk about following up, that would be picked up, okay? On homes.com, I noticed there were 3 homes for rent. Only one of those homes that's listed on homes.com is on this list. The other 2, I went back and looked. They were bought in the second half of 2024. Maybe they don't know the rule yet, but that's something I was wondering, that if someone is renting a house or is buying a house and they're closing in Orangetown, perhaps an attorney could say, you know, this is the rules of the town if you choose to rent your house. Maybe they don't know it yet, but you did answer the question. The annual renewal is twice a year. Maybe we should do it once a year. And the $20 fee seems kind of small. You know, this time, I just think $20 I spend in Dunkin' Donuts with, you know, that maybe we could put that up and it would generate some money to help pay for somebody who has to watch this list. I put in 3 code violations. I heard back on one. Mr. Cleary called me 3 times. I've spoke to him. But the other 2 code violations I put in, I did not hear back from anybody. So I don't know how long that would take. The final thing, and I want it on the record, so that's what I'm asking this question is, how does the town board feel about faith-based affordable housing? There is a bill up in the New York State Senate, which I've read, which states that if this bill passes, the people who are faith-based, they would not have to follow the municipality zone codes. That is very, very scary. And I think that I have been putting it on my page. I even put it on my personal page because it's going to affect all of New York State, not just us here in Rockland. But this is a very, very dangerous bill if it means that someone can come in here and build 30 and 40 units because they're faith-based and not have to follow any of our zoning codes. So, thank you.
Hi, Noreen Gernon, Pearl River. This is about the faith-based housing also. Just a flyer came in the mail. I don't know if anybody on the town board received it, from Aaron Weeder, asking for suggestions. And I'm just asking that, I know there's not a lot of people here, but if you can encourage people to send that flyer in. I mean, I myself sent it immediately about the faith-based housing, because as Patty said, the impact would be horrific for our community. That's all I have to say. Spread the word.
I make a motion, we close the public comment portion?
Second?
Aye.
Right,
Anybody want to talk about?
Sure. So, I agree. I'm 100% opposed to the faith-based housing proposition that they have. I am a big fan of home rule, and that our town should be able to steer its own direction when it comes to the building and the zoning codes in our own community. So the state has been trying to push this around in many ways, and packaging it, repackaging it, and calling it new names, and you could see Kathy Hochul's working hard on trying to get this passed, and I'm 100% opposed against it.
And I'll echo those comments, especially with the home rule. Usually, or typically, or almost entirely, whenever there's federal or state laws that are pushed down to a local level, most of us will oppose them. I don't know how somebody in Albany or wherever their home base might be would have any idea what our land use looks like in this neighborhood. So I agree with Paul that I'm opposed to that as well. Sure.
Yeah, I think that the board in general is opposed. I don't want to speak for anybody else, but I just did, because we have spoken about it amongst ourselves, and there's nobody here. We want to keep our own zoning and control our own destiny. Thank you.
I don't see how any elected officials in any municipality in New York would be in favor of this, so I'm strongly opposed.
And so, and I'll just echo that. With whether it's TOD or faith-based housing, this is just, we're talking about faith-based housing. But if there is zoning from the state that's trying to get railroaded down into the town of Orangetown, it's something that I oppose entirely.
Personally, I'm dead set against it. For the 22 years I was on the town board, I did everything I could to keep people in certain areas of the county and not here, whatever that means. All right, let's take a look at number 3.
Just a reminder, Dennis is not vote. You run the meeting, but you don't vote.
Well, that's right. I'm a nobody.
I'm making sure you don't vote. I know you're dying to vote.
I tell you, smacking me down. All right, number 3, set the public hearing for April 8th at 7:05 for the proposed amendment to Chapter 39, Vehicles and Traffic within the hamlets of South Nyack and Tappan. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion.
I'll second.
I'm sorry, second?
I
Brian?
second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Number 4, authorize renewal agreement to the grant writing services for Millennial Strategies. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Brian, seconded by Jerry Batari. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Number 5, approve the Parks and Recreation 2025 fee schedule. Motion?
Motion approved.
Motion by Dan Sullivan, second
I'll second, sorry.
by Brian Donahue. All in favor?
Aye.
7, award contract electric equipment category category,
No, 6.
Oh, yeah. Six.
mowers and eco equipment.
Six.
Six, tree removal.
Oh, I ran amok. I ran right by number 6.
We got you.
Sorry. Learning disabled. Number 6, award contract, Blue Hill and Broad Acres Golf Courses for tree removal, awarding it to O'Sullivan Tree Care. A motion?
I make a
Motion.
motion.
All right. The
Second.
Jerry Vitari, second by Dan Sullivan. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, now we'll do 7. Award contract, the electric equipment category for mowers and the eco equipment. Motion?
I make a motion.
Dan Sullivan?
That's Paul.
It's Paul?
That was me, but that's
That's all right. Yeah.
It's my bad hearing aid.
I think your battery's.
So, Paul?
I'll second, yeah.
And Dan seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Award, number 8, award contract, electric equipment category, 2 utility vehicles from Store Tractor Company. Motion
I'll make a motion. Brian Donahue.
Second.
by Jerry Vitari. All in favor?
Aye.
Number 9, award contract, the electric equipment, 3 handheld equipment, eco equip. Motion,
Motion?
Dan Sullivan,
I'll second it.
seconded by Paul Valentine. All in favor?
Aye.
Traffic Advisory Board, approve, remove parking restrictions east side of South Highland Avenue from Terrace Drive to Route 9W in South Nyack, 6-month police regulation. Have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Jerry Vitari, seconded by
I'll second.
Brian Donahue. All in favor?
Aye.
Number 11, we're accepting and receiving file documentation to the clerk's office. All right. Motion?
Motion?
Second.
Second by, I'm sorry, Jerry Vitari. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, the audit, Mr. Benson.
Yeah, you suck it up.
Thanks, Jeff.
Just while Jeff's passing that out, Dennis, I know everybody mentioned their opposition to the faith-based housing. The board, next time, maybe could do a resolution, to send to the state memorializing the opposition, so. I'm just putting it out there for next time, if the board, and that was, that was not my idea, suggested to me by somebody on the phone.
I think it's a great idea,
Yep.
and I will support it.
Okay, the audit for tonight consists of 4 warrants for $1.8 million. Items of interest, number 1, AKRF, $39,000 for drainage review escrow. Number 2, Visala Inc., $53,000 for highway chip funds. Number 3, Atlantic Salt, $150,000 for highway salt purchases. Number 5, Deal & Sons, $295,000 for highway equipment. That's bonded money. Number 8, Global Montello, $57,000 for fuel. Number 10, Helmke Industries, $33,000 for the Orangetown Housing Authority snow removal. Number 12, the State Comptroller, $39,000 for justice fines. Number 14, Troon Golf, $203,000 for golf course contracts. And number 15, Visala again, $34,000 for highway chip funds. Any questions on the audit?
Motion on the audit,
Motion to accept the audit.
I'll second that motion.
second by
Donahue.
Brian.
Brian Donahue. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're adjourning tonight. James Slattery, young man from Pearl River. I remember him as a young boy in St. Margaret's Grammar School. James Slattery. And also Brendan Sullivan, former resident of Tapan and uncle of Councilman Dan Sullivan.
Thank you.
And it's hard to keep track of the Sullivans, because there's Sullivans all over the place, in Tapan particularly. So we're adjourning in those two. Executive session tonight?
Yeah, Dennis, actually, there's a contractual issue with personnel to discuss on,
Okay.
Okay.
Brittany's
So
here for
we will not be coming out to vote.
the SEA issue.
So-
We'll be going into executive sessions.
I make a motion, we close this meeting after we come out of executive session, but we will not be voting on anything else.
Thank you.
Yeah, second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, you two. You don't want to go?